I'm a great lover of private lessons with friends and family. I think the more hours you can spend behind the steering wheel, the better, really. So the only observation or advice I would give is to make sure they're actually positive experiences, and by that I mean you enjoy it, and so does the person who's helping you, and also you learn from it. And so you've got to be quite clear on what you're aiming to achieve. And in the process of doing that, in the process of learning, try to avoid inconveniencing or annoying other road users as well. So what I would say to you is, first of all, think about how this is for your, say, your mum or your dad who's doing these private lessons for you in between your instructor lessons. Think about what it is like. They haven't got any dual controls, so it is hazardous, potentially hazardous, and you have to think about the effects that can have. And by far the best way of dealing with that is to control the situation. So the way to think about this is, before you embark on doing your driving lessons with your mum or your dad or your friend or whatever, have a little thought about what you want to achieve, what you're trying to achieve. So rather than it becoming a reactive driving session whereby you sort of go into town and you come across anything you come across, and boy couldn't you come across a lot of stuff there, when you come back from those kind of driving sessions and your mum says, and this happened, didn't it, and then that happened, and then blah, da 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 da, and that's not constructive. That's not good experience for either of you, really. And ultimately it's not even good experience for your driving instructor, because if it affects your confidence and your enjoyment of driving, then it's a backward step in lots of ways, actually. So try to avoid it becoming a reactive driving session, and get a bit of planning in there, and precise planning of what you're going to practice. So looking at roundabouts here, rather than just saying to yourselves, well, I want to just do roundabouts today, and you go out with let's say you go out with your dad and you come across any roundabouts that you come across. It could be minis, massive big ones with traffic lights on them, or medium ones. Actually be a bit selective on where you're going to practice. So spend a bit of time, a minute or two, just thinking about what in particular about roundabouts you want to practice. Here's someone who hasn't practiced too much roundabouts. It's gone straight through that. So think about what aspect of the roundabouts you want to actually practice. So what are roundabouts? Meeting situations, as opposed to, well, normal progression is T-junctions, then crossroads with the extra added road. We normally pause and do some extra observations there, and then followed by roundabouts. The difference between crossroads and roundabouts, not a great deal. Roundabouts, you're kind of encouraged to keep the wheels moving, aren't you, to flow, free flowing traffic, but they're still meeting points, and when you have meeting points of traffic, you've got lots of other things to consider. So the last thing I would suggest you want to do is just say, right, well, let's just go and deal with these roundabouts then, because you could come across anything. You need to be much more specific. With all of these junctions, the approach is still MSPSL, mirror signal position speed look. You need to select a certain part of that you want to look into. So for example, if you were doing roundabouts right at the beginning, then get control of the speed on the approach to the roundabouts, so that you can then, between the two of you, discuss and practice particularly what you want to do. So that might be looking at the sign, the traffic sign of the roundabout, and deciding or identifying where is the exit that you're intending to go. So plan your route. So let's say for the next 3 roundabouts we want to go straight over. So between the two of you, you've agreed that. You've selected which roundabouts you're going to go on quite well, in terms of how busy they are, in terms of what the approaches looks like on them. And then just look at the traffic signs and look at which number exit it is, and how you can count the exits out in your mind, and when is the appropriate time for the mirrors and the signals, and what position do I need to be taking. And so look at one aspect of all of that, rather than trying to do all of it. Look at one aspect of it and just spend 3 roundabouts or 3 to 5 roundabouts looking at that one aspect. Once you've got that sorted, then go on to another aspect, and it becomes much more structured and much more controlled. Between the two of you, you're feeling happy that you're feeling like you're achieving something. You're not annoying a load of people in the process, which has always got to be a bonus, isn't it? And you're also controlling it so that there's less chance of any accidents from occurring. So it makes sense in so many ways to set yourself some aims of what you're intending to do, being a bit selective on where you're going to go to do your practice, and looking upon it as a practicing session, in particular on a certain aspect that you'll want to do, rather than just a free-for-all, and then it all starts becoming very, very reactive, and that's not good. So I would say to you, in summary, if you are going to go out on the roads with a member of your family or a friend, first of all, they're being extremely kind and generous to you and giving their time and use of their car, and the least you can do is try and make that a positive experience with the two of you. It can be very off-putting for either of you if it goes wrong, and so spend some time planning that session. There's some various different clips on this particular subject on this website, which will give you some food for thought as to what things you can practice. And my advice is to be quite creative and what you want to aim to achieve, and then just spend time on that particular bit, and that way you're making it a good experience all round, good depth of learning, useful in between the sessions you have with your instructor, because you can build on it and you can explain to your instructor what experiences you've had and how in particular certain aspects of it went. So looking at manoeuvres, for example, blimey, there's great stuff there, great potential for feeding that back to your instructor, and very focused, makes so much more sense in lots of ways. You're getting more value for your money, for your time you're spending with your instructor, and as well as that, you're actually able to pinpoint exactly what you want to practice. So it's good all round, really.